of the willing.
So, if a corner is just around Diablo 4's launch or vice versa, the question on everyone's mind has to be, what class should they pick to embark on that epic journey? So what should you choose to start Diablo 4 with? To be perfectly honest, and you can take it as a sort of a disclaimer, always play what you find the most entertaining and what you see yourself coming back to enjoy again and again. There is no established meta, nobody has experienced the endgame to its fullest, therefore nobody can paint the ideal picture of what's good and what's not. As for yours truly, I didn't spend countless hours theory crafting builds like a lot of other folks did, but I did play quite some betas and I will try to base this video off my in-game experience. Personally, I will be starting as a rogue. I'm usually playing those ranged/caster classes that are relatively squishy, have high mobility and rely on their cooldowns and positioning to be the most effective. That's what I do in almost all our games that I play. I don't usually like playing those in-your-face smashers like the Barbarian unless I absolutely have to. And I've also casted enough Blizzards starting almost all ladder seasons on my cold sorcerers in Diablo 2. Relying on summons has also never been my jam, so I'd much rather play something like a rogue than a necromancer. Surprisingly enough, I had a lot of fun playing the Druid, and if not for the rogue, that would most likely be my class of choice to set foot into Diablo 4. All memes aside, the Druid looks like it could be a very strong class for mid to later stages of the game. It has insane survivability, his summons got buffed, and he has multiple ways to shield and heal himself. He has some really strong nukes that you can chain with proper usage of cooldowns and our game mechanics like overpower. He also has a reliable source of area of effect damage and even some crowd control with Poison Creeper. I might even take a chance and call the Druid the most endgame viable class that we currently have. The Barbarian also has a slower pace at first, but as with the Druid, he also is indeed a promising endgame proposition. If put it simply, I personally think that the Druid and the Barb will be amongst the best endgame classes.
You believe that? Huh? Can you
The Barb scaling with items, which includes his arsenal system, which will allow him to take advantage of having additional stats as well as having additional legendary powers in those weapon slots, should make him a contender for the throne of the best endgame class that we currently have. Necromancer should be more than fine in the early game, but I for one don't see him scaling all too well into the endgame. In my opinion, he will be that jack of all trades, having decent damage and decent survivability. Don't expect it to be a mobile character though, and I personally don't see that changing with the endgame. In fact, I think that the Necro is the least mobile class of all in Diablo 4, but if you sort of enjoy that laid-back summoner Necro experience from Diablo 2, I think it's still your best bet.
Holy toad! Pretty damn slow!
While you won't be able to completely rely on your minions to do the heaviest of liftings for you,
Wait! Yeah!
I think it's still the closest you can get to that good old experience from a Diablo 2 summoner build. Next, of course, we have the Sorcerer, the staple elementalist magician that is present in almost all ARPGs or MMORPGs on the market. The Sorcerer, alongside the Rogue, was amongst the first three classes that the first ever game of Diablo had. Sorcerers in Diablo 4 use elemental magic to shatter, electrocute or set their foes on fire. They have their signature teleport for mobility and also can set up defensive barriers which can make them unkillable for a period of time. Overall, it's a pretty well-rounded class, which I assume a lot of people will be starting with. It's really strong at first and with proper coordination and cooldown usages shouldn't have any problems transitioning into the later stages of the game. Last but not least, we have the Rogue, and as I have mentioned, that is what I will be personally starting with. The class has unrivaled mobility, can be played as both melee and ranged, and it is in my opinion the most fun character to play with. I have played Rogue the most during the course of all betas, and I'm absolutely looking forward to start with it come launch. The Rogue offers high risk, high reward playstyle, which relies on good positioning, cooldown usages and decision making to stay alive while you deal tons of damage. So if any of the mentioned things sound fun to you, this is maybe what you should be starting with as well. But then again, as I've mentioned in the start of the video, don't listen to all of the YouTubers. Choose what you see yourself having the most fun playing with. It was TS, thanks for watching and see you in Sanctuary.